did it again, mate. We did it again. Lucky lane 6. Lucky lane 6. Mate, we just beat 3 world record holders. How do you think I feel? How do you think Mate, what do you think we come here for? Silver? Stuff the silver, we come for the gold. What do you think we come for? Where's the animal? Where's the animal? Hello, Australia. It's very exciting here. You should be here. He's broke a world record.
Then the realisation he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, I got to go and see this big bastard.
How good is that? I mean, every time I see that video footage, I get goosebumps. It takes me back, and I think how fortunate I am, the son of a shearer's cook, a publican, a taxi driver, and finally a swim pool operator, to go to 8 Olympic Games. My journey's taken me from Los Angeles to London, incidentally. I've got the London jacket on from the Olympic Games in London. And do you know what's very special about this? Inside here is each Olympic Games since 1896, when Edwin Flack won Australia's first Olympic gold medal. The first Olympic gold medal, Edwin Flack, in here, 1896. And every other Olympic gold medalist since 1896 is indelibly marked inside this London jacket. How good is this? And we walked out, I can still remember as we walked out into the arena for the opening ceremony with every Olympian inside, and also we had inner soles made, and every Australian Olympic gold medalist, their names were in our shoes as well. So we had them on our shoulders and on our shoes. I have to pinch myself. I can remember going back to Winton, my Olympic days I thought were over. And I sat in a little motel room in Winton, late at night, watching the crackly TV, and Samaranch came on, the president of the Olympic Games, and announced, the winner is Sydney. And I thought, well, I'm not coaching anymore, I'm not going to get to Sydney. So I sat up all night and I penned this poem, and I'd like to share it with you now. I think we'll put in Olympic bid, said Nick Frank Griner. Well, the critics laughed and rolled their eyes. Well, you can't beat China. There's 1 billion people over there. Against 20 million, it's just not fair. But the dream was set. We had a plan. To execute it, you need a man of vision, strength, integrity. Well, Coates's the bloke. We'll win, you'll see. So we gathered round him a sensational team, each one sharing the Olympic dream. And then Samaranch announced, the winner is Sydney. Well, I could feel it tickle me old left kidney. Premier Fahey jumped high in the air, landed 2 feet and backflipped a chair. But the knockers about failed to applaud it, screaming abuse. We can't afford it. But in 1 million homes across this land, kids dream their Olympic dreams, about putting on their tracksuit and everything it means, about staying on and doing more when all the rest went home. The seed they'd sown had taken root, so they soldiered on alone. 'Cause it takes a special kind of kid with a ton of guts and heart to find that little extra bit that's needed from the start. To find a dream and chase it, letting nothing bar your way. No, you be the one they'll stand and cheer one day. And the Olympics call the chosen few to come and cross the line when all those years of blood and sweat finally say, it's time. And a precious few will make that walk to face the acid test. Because thousands try to represent. But we only take the best. You kids out there, get down to work. Train hard, push the pedal. The greatest thrill you'll ever have is to win an Olympic medal. Well, I thought I was gone. But I got a call up from the great Herb Elliott. Laurie, would you like to come to the Olympics and be athlete liaison officer and look after the entire Australian Olympic team? Herb, would I ever? I'm there. I'm in like Flynn. And as a result, have a look at this. Have a look, get a close-up, have a look at this. Down here is the important part. See that little thing there? You got it? Infinity. Infinity means I can go into any venue, any sport. This is carte blanche into the Olympic Games. I can remember, how lucky can you get? And that was my journey from Los Angeles, when I had this 17-year-old kid beat Michael Gross, right through to Beijing, where I saw the greatest swimming performance of all time, Michael Phelps. I saw him, I was there, saw every heat, every final, where he won eight, can you believe it? 8 Olympic gold medals. Mate, it's unbelievable what that young man did. And to think about his journey, and I'll talk a little bit more about his journey right now, but I want to take you back. I want to share with you, and this might seem a bit strange, that I pick out the team handbook, 1992 Olympic Games, Barcelona, Spain. And I found myself there at the presentation ceremony for our equestrian team. Now, I know it's a bunch of swimmers out there and I'm going to start talking about horses, but this is a great story. And when I saw the 3 riders get up on stage to get their medals and the national anthem playing, I wanted to find out who exactly they were. So I've looked in here, I've flicked over the pages and I come to, David Green, farmer. Born in Castledine. 32, riding Duncan 2. Fantastic. Andrew Hoy, once again, farmer, riding Kiwi. And I flicked over and I kept looking. And the third member of the team, there he is, there's Matthew Ryan, riding Kiba TikTok. He finished up being an Olympic double gold medalist. He won the individual gold and the 3-day eventing gold. And the other member of the team is not here. Gillian Rolton, riding Peppermint Grove. Beautiful, big, grey horse. Fantastic horse. The person here is Greg Watson, who was riding Takanga Fred. And to be honest, I wondered what happened. Why this woman, Olympic gold medalist, the only Australian female gold medalist at this stage ever in equestrian, hadn't made the team. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Greg Watson was in Europe riding the shows, badminton, all the French, equestrian shows, and Takanga Fred breaks down. Now, we can't go to the Olympics because we need another rider for the 3-day event. You have 4 riders, but only 3 score points. So we need another rider. Gillian Rolton is in Europe, having a lovely time, going to the different shows, performing well. And Wayne Roycroft says to his father was Olympic gold medalist 32 years ago in Rome. 30 years in Rome, 1960. Now it's 1992. 32 years ago. And the old man now is like that Banjo Patterson poem. The old man with his hair as white as snow. But few could ride beside him when his blood was fairly up. He would go wherever man or beast could go. And he's there with his son, who's now coaching the Australian team. His son said, let's get Gillian Rolton, she's in. And the old man was aghast. He said, that horse'll never do for a long and tiring gallop, lass. You'd better stay away, for the hills are much too rough for such as you. So Gillian, she waited, sad and wistful. Only Clancy stood a friend. I think we ought to let her come, he said. I promise she'll be with us when she's wanted at the end, for both her horse and she are mountain bred. So they brought her into the team. Now we've got this unheralded woman who's going to ride for us in the 3-day event. For those of you who don't know anything about horses, I'm going to give you a lesson now in 3-day eventing. First day, (26) or 27 tricky manoeuvres where you put your horse through the paces. You're not allowed to hit it with a whip. You've got to use your hips, your heels, your knees, inside your leg to make your horse move. And you get points taken off you. That's first day. Second day's the tough day. 27 kilometres, the cross-country day. Now, if you can imagine having to ride a horse, a steeplechase, over jumps, fences, water jumps, rubbish piles. One of the jumps was up onto a house and down across a stream of water. So this gives you a bit of an idea of the type. 27 kilometres of bloody flat-out galloping over. Our Australian major race is 3 kilometres. This is 27. It puts man and beast through enormous pressure. After you've done that steeplechase and the cross-country, you come into what is called the 10-minute box, just to give your horses a rest. And it's very emotional in that 10-minute box. There's horses snorting, heaving, stamping. There's riders who are jubilant because they've had a great round. They've not knocked down a rail and they've come in a great time. So they've got maximum points. There's others who are shattered, absolutely shattered, because their horses have gone lame or they fell over. And this is where they all are now, having a rest for 10 minutes. And they're all there, and word comes in. Duncan 2, the horse, has slipped, and the rider now is out. Our rider's out. We've lost a rider. Now we need this unheralded woman, Gillian Rolton, because without her, we cannot win the gold medal. So now we've got to tell her, you're riding for the gold for us, baby. We need you. And the old man said, that horse will never do for a long and tiring gallop, lass. You'd better stay away. But the team gathered together. They'd been through lots of adversity together. They gathered together and they started to talk. And the rider of Duncan 2 came in and said, Gillian, don't worry. Don't worry. The course is easy. I was murdering it. The only thing, Duncan 2 slipped going around a bend. Just be careful at the 64th jump. Going around there, and they've got it labelled for you. Going around there, it's slippery. Be careful when you take Peppermint Grove. Otherwise, you're going to kill it. And listen, just as he's saying that, the course vet comes in. There's been an accident at the 16th. A horse has fallen in, broken its neck. We're going to pull it out and destroy it. And the old man said, get out of here. We're trying to give this woman positive vibes. She's riding and you're telling us about a horse that's died. And they gathered around and all of a sudden it's Gillian's turn to ride. She reaches down and she pats old Peppermint Grove on the side of the neck He was hard and tough and wiry, just the sort that won't say die. There was courage in his quick, impatient tread, and he bore the badge of gameness in his bright and fiery eye, and the proud and lofty carriage of his head. So she wheeled Peppermint Grove around, give him a nudge in the flank, and away they went. And the old man called out, "Go at 'em from the jump, love! No use to try for fancy riding now." And away she went, and she did the ride of her life. We needed that unheralded woman to ride for us, and she covered herself with glory. And the final day, we're in a position to win the Olympic gold medal. Andrew Hoy, riding Kiba TikTok, is there for a double gold. He can win the individual gold and the team gold if he can go around the course and just knock down 2 rails. We win the Olympic gold medal. And I went online and I got this video clip of him doing the show jumping on the last day, and he just sails, jump after jump after jump, and everyone's so quiet in the grandstand. And I was there as he went over the last hurdle and just knocked down 1 rail. He became the Olympic champion. Gillian Rolton, not even in the team handbook, became the Olympic champion as part of the team. I guess what I'm trying to say to people who are listening to us today is any team is only as strong as its weakest link. If you're a swim coach or a teacher and you've built a team around you and someone in there is a weak link and doesn't pull their weight, then you don't get what you deserve. If you've got a swim school and you've got 2 weak links, 2 teachers that are not teaching well, that will penetrate like a bad apple through your whole staff. Guess what I'm trying to say? When Australia won that elusive Olympic gold medal at Equestrian after 32 years, Matthew Ryan had to put all of the skill to win it, the whole team. And do you know what? Victory was Australia's. It's important that we applaud Andrew Hoy because he's Olympic gold medalist. We acclaim Matthew Ryan, riding Kiba TikTok. But in the words of Banjo Patterson, down by Kosciuszko, where the pine-clad ridges raise their torn and rugged battlements on high, where the air is clear as crystal and the bright stars fairly blaze at midnight in the cold and frosty sky, and where around the overflow the reed beds sweep and sway to the breezes and the rolling plains are wide. Oh, Gillian Rolton, you're a household word today, and stockmen tell the story of your ride. An unheralded woman, not wanted, becomes in as a reserve, not even in the team handbook, and now is Australia's first ever Australian equestrian gold medalist. Just remember, you cannot build a strong team on weak individuals. It can't be done. You cannot do it. So I guess, for me, there's so many. Here's another great woman. I remember when Duncan Armstrong won his Olympic gold medal, and at that same Olympics, we had one other Olympic gold medalist. That was Debbie Flintoff King. And I want to tell the story, I guess because I've got only daughters, that I'm sticking with the women today. And I wondered about Debbie. I after it was all over, I got quite friendly with Phil King, Debbie's husband, and they came back to Brisbane, and I said to my wife, let's go and have dinner with them at Rumpol's in Brisbane. And I went in, took my wife, and we were running late, and I was saying, hurry up, let's get in here. I want you to meet these people. They're lovely people, and she's Olympic gold medalist as well. Well, when we get into Rumpol's, Debbie's there, and she's got this cutaway dress on. Oh my God. She looked fantastic. And we sit down to dinner and I look across at her and I couldn't help myself. I just said, Debbie, you have got the most magnificent biceps of any woman I've ever seen. And I get the big kick under the table from my wife. And Phil looks across at me, he said, yeah. He said, that's natural. He said, 6 years out from the Seoul Olympic Games, when she won the 400 metres hurdles at the Brisbane Commonwealth Games, we made a pact that we'd chase the Olympic dream. We'd go to the Olympic Games. And for 6 years, every day of her life, she's done 100 push-ups, 100 dips, and 500 sit-ups. I looked at her, I said, every day? She said, every day. I said, Christmas Day? And she said, yes, Christmas Day, because that's the day my opponents are having a rest. And that's the day I believe I can get an advantage on them, by working when they're sleeping. And then I wanted to find out more about their journey. How did this, like we've only won about a handful of track and field events in Australia. I know you Americans have won bucket loads, but we've won only a few. We've had some great ones though. The great Herb Elliott, who I roomed with at 2 Olympic Games, in the same room with Herb Elliott, whose time in Rome in 1960 on the old Cinders track, 1960, now let's go. His time in Rome in 1960 would have won the Olympic gold medal in Rio 56 years later. How good is that? He came from the Percy Cerutty School of Hard Knocks, where you had to train if you want to win. And he told me some of the stuff that he used to do with Percy, unbelievable. Anyway, they shunned the running tracks and went to the sandhills at Portsea. So I said to Phil, what did you do with Debbie? He said, well, there were no good running tracks in Melbourne. He said, so what I did was I fashioned a harness. I had a harness made. And 3 days a week I'd strap Debbie to the harness and we'd tie it up to a huge tractor tyre. And 3 days a week, Debbie became a beast of burden and would run around this oval in Melbourne dragging this big tractor tyre behind her. And I thought, oh my God. And then I said, what else did you do? He said, we had, out in the Dandenong Hills, we had an 800 metre incline. He said, we'd go there twice a week and I'd put her at the bottom of the hill, sharp incline, 800 metres to the top. She'd run to the top. I'd drive up in my car and bring her down. She'd run to the top. I'd drive up and bring her down. Very smart man, Phil King. He used to do the driving. She used to do the running. So he was building the strength in the legs that would take her to an Olympic gold medal. What else? He gathered around him a team who would totally support him. A psychologist, a sports scientist, a physiologist, a masseur, a hurdles coach, a technical coach to teach Debbie how to go over the hurdles. And he gathered this team together to give her the perfect opportunity to win. But you know, if you're going to be successful at the highest level, you have to marry the physical and the mental together, because if you've got a weakness mentally or physically, your opposition's going to grab you by the throat and rip your jugular out. It's that simple. So the biggest hurdle very often is the psychological hurdle. So every year, for 6 years, he decided that they would tour Europe and do all the athletics circuit where he could race the Russians, the red shirts are the Russians. The blue shirts are the East Germans. The Kenyan runners. He picked them all out and they toured Europe, went to every diamond meet in Europe, and all of a sudden the Russians, the East Germans, the Kenyans held no fear for Debbie. And 12 months before the Olympic Games, it started to pay dividends because she won the World Championships. No, sorry, I lie. She was second in the World Championships. But now she believed that she could actually do it. 12 months out from the Olympic Games, he decided he'd have to go to Seoul himself on a reconnaissance to see what it's like. He wanted to test out the food, the language, the village. The village was set up, so over he went. Saw how far she had to walk, what the food was like, what the language. He identified not water, so he went and saw the AOC, and for the first time the AOC took bottles of water over for the Australian team. When he left, he took his toaster, he got a half a dozen loaves of bread from the local bakery down the road, honey from the farmyard up the road, muesli that Debbie liked. So every morning she could have a normal breakfast over there. He sourced out a deep freeze so he could put the bread in to keep it frozen and fresh. And every morning she ate her normal breakfast while this silly bugger was eating kimchi and rice. Great diet. You know, so many great memories, and I can go on and on and on. I can talk about some of the great Australian swimmers that I've ever seen, even as a snotty-nosed kid. Dawn Fraser, John Conrads, John Hendricks, Murray Rose, David Tyler, Lorraine Crapp. I can run over these names over and over. Their light burns very dimly when you compare it to Michael Phelps, what Michael Phelps has done. Michael Phelps, mate, I was there for every one of his swims. And I watched and I've listened to Bob Bowman speak about him and everything. And you know what? From what I gather, and I know, Phelps is a professional. Now, when I say professional, I'm not talking how much money he's got or anything like that. That's a byproduct if it comes. By professional, I'm talking about the way he pays meticulous attention to detail. He dots the I's, he crosses the T's, all the little things. He's prepared to pay the price. What about you? What about you as a teacher? What about you as a coach? Do you pay meticulous attention to detail? Are you prepared to pay the price? How many times? Phelps didn't miss training for 6 years. 6 years before he won 8 consecutive Olympic gold medals. Do you think he paid the price? Have you ever watched Phelps come off the wall? And how he locks tight, streamlines, and always goes out further than the opposition. He created the 5th stroke, and now the world is copying him. Professionals do things that their competitors don't. They're not frightened to take the tough opposition. They're not frightened to take any tough options. And they are unrelenting in their quest for perfection. They set their goals and they persist. Interesting. After the World Championships in Melbourne, where Phelps won 7 gold medals, he said, I'm going to go to, I think he won 7 gold medals, maybe 6. He said, I'm going to go to Athens and win 7 gold medals. I'm going to do a Mark Spitz. And everyone says he won't do it. Ian Thorpe, our grader, said nobody can win 7 gold medals. No one will ever do that, what Mark Spitz did ever again. And then they went, and what does he do? He wins 6 gold medals, and Thorpe beats him in the 200 freestyle. 200 freestyle. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look where Thorpe beats Phelps in Athens and denies him 7 gold medals. Let's watch it.
Phelps in 3, Van den Hoogenband in 4, Thorpe in 5. Thorpe is starting to go away. Thorpe is leading. Van den Hoogenband coming back a little bit. Phelps coming back too. The gold goes to Thorpe. Silver to Van den Hoogenband. Bronze to Phelps. Oh my word.
Next part of the story is this. Thorpe then goes on TV and says, I knew he wouldn't do it. Nobody can win 7 gold medals. Nobody will ever do that again. Headlines in the paper. What does Phelps do? He cuts out the headlines and then he pastes it in the back of his locker. Thorpe said, you cannot win 7 gold medals. And underneath, he puts in thick pen, no, but I'm going for 8. He sets his sight on 8 gold medals. Can you believe it? And I was there in Beijing the night that he won 8 gold medals. I was there every night. My favourite, honestly, is the 100 butterfly, where he races Michael Cavic. That is an unbelievable race. And if you'd have been there that night and watched them, they got up like prize fighters. Phelps stood up on the block, looked across at Cavic. Cavic stood on the block, only 1 foot on the block, and looked across like 2 prize fighters. And then they were up and ready to go. It was the race of the century, where Phelps won by 1/100th of a second, right at the last throw.
For Michael Phelps, mother and sisters. What has to happen here, especially at the first turn?
He's got to keep it close. He needs to be about 24 flat. If he's 23.8 or 23.9, he will win. But if Cavic has that half-second lead or more on Phelps, Phelps could be in major trouble. You know Cavic is going to be out very, very fast.
It appears that Cavic and Crocker are going to have the lead at the turn. That was expected. Cavic has the lead. Phelps needs to find out.
He's 24 flat. That's a great turn for Phelps. He's mixed it in the wash, but here he comes.
Crocker is above Phelps. Phelps looks like he's passing Crocker. Phelps needs to get by Cavic. Does he have enough in the tank to get it done? Cavic is swimming tough. Phelps above him in lane 5. I don't know if he's going to catch him. He gets it done again.
He did it. He did it. He got to do it again.
For the second straight Olympics, Phelps at the end gets it done.
And do you know why he won? Because he was professional. He'd been practicing the basic skills every single time in training. What about you? Are you professional in your teaching? Are you professional in your coaching? Are you doing it every time? Are you persisting? Are you not compromising? These are questions I want to ask you. Because if Phelps had of, he wouldn't have won. And if Cavic had of, he would have won because he was in front everywhere except the finish. And if you go back, actually I'll put that race on TV and you can watch the finish where Cavic comes in front on the touch and lifts his head that far from the end of the pool. Lifts his head. What happens when you lift your head? You put the brakes on and slow down. And Phelps came over the top with the perfect touch. Don't compromise workouts. Don't compromise quality. Professionals don't procrastinate. They do things today. They do it today. And they remain totally focused when all the others get sidetracked. Totally focused. I believe that's why Phelps is a champion. He's a professional. And when you get someone as professional as a coach, like Bob Bowman, you put the two together and the team become unbeatable. Unbeatable. What are you doing to become professional? What are you doing in your industry to make yourself better? It's not a matter of wandering through life, it's a matter of taking life in both hands and shaking the living daylights out of it. When you do that, impossible things happen. I'm going to slip a photo in here now. It's a photo of a young kid who was 8 years of age. And after Phelps had won 8 gold medals and went through Singapore, this 8-year-old kid got his photo taken with him. And there he is, this little boy, 8 years of age, standing beside Michael Phelps. This little boy started to grow, but he had dreams. A little kid from Singapore. He went over to Bolly's school in America to train, where a lot of the great swimmers, young high school swimmers go. And he trained there, unrelenting. He was crying at night. It was a boarding school. His mother said, "Come home." He said, "No, I'm not. I want to win Olympic gold medal." 8 years later, in Rio, he races Phelps. He races Phelps. Let's have a look at that race. I'm going to put it on TV now for you to see. It's the 100 metres butterfly where this 8-year-old kid has become a man and is now going to race his hero.
Michael Phelps takes lane number 2. His mum Debbie stands, his partner Nicole. But this young man from Singapore, he trains out of the USA. He's 21 years of age. He has been so impressive through the heat, the semi-final, and now he finds himself in the fastest lane. It is a pressure to be the fastest qualifier, and it takes a tough, courageous person to handle that pressure of being fastest qualifier.
Schooling's reaction time in the semi-finals was the best by far of everyone, and he starts well again. He's in lane 4. Next to him is Leclos, and already Schooling has gone out. Phelps out there in lane 2, but Schooling's looking good and right on that world record time.
Phelps doesn't have the same kind of first 50 speed as Schooling, but what we do know is that he'll come off this wall and his underwater will be impressive. It's just how much has the toll of racing taken on his body and whether or not he can mow down a man that's 10 years younger than him.
That is still Schooling. He's transferred the form that he showed in the heats into the semi-finals and into the final, and he's a body length clear almost. Can he hold on? We were hoping to see history in the pool, but we are history because Singapore has won an Olympic gold medal and an Olympic record time. Joseph Schooling, simply sensational.
Joseph Schooling becomes Singapore's first Olympic swimming gold medalist. Dreams do come true. But they don't come true without work. And so the point I'm trying to make to the people listening to this today, don't set your sights down here. That's bullshit. Set your sights up here and start climbing. Start climbing. But I'll tell you something else now. I'm just going to give you one life tip. One life tip. If you don't love what you do, forget about it. Forget about it. If you don't love what you do, mate, you're never going to be successful. You're never going to make it. I haven't worked a day in my life. I have loved every minute of my life, every minute that I do. And I think back to when I first started coaching, and I think about a 10-year-old girl who used to beat me to the pool every day. When I first started coaching in Townsville, and she became my first Australian representative. Because she had a passion for it. Do you think Bob Bowman would have been to every training session that Phelps did if Bob didn't have a passion for it? Would you think, if he didn't think about ways to make Michael better, if he hadn't instigated the underwater dolphin, if he hadn't seen Jesse Vassallo or whoever else first started using, Daichi Suzuki and David Burkoff. How good was that race in 1988 in Seoul, when they were allowed to go most of the distance underwater in butterfly? How good was that? I saw that. I was there the night. The crowd went nuts. And Suzuki beat Burkoff, the world record holder. We as coaches should have then understood that you need to start this dolphining underwater. Phelps has taken it to another level. And if Susie O'Neill had realised it, then Misty Hyman wouldn't have beat her in the Sydney 2. I still get sick when I think of that race. When Madame Butterfly, our Madame Butterfly, got beaten by Misty Hyman, who on the last turn went underwater, locked tight, and dolphined to the lead and was never passed. Fantastic. I guess what I want to say to you is, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I'm not coaching anymore. But my passion now is the Kids Alive water safety program. In Australia, when we first started, my daughter and I, Emma, she's amazing. When we first started doing this, drowning stats in Australia, 63 for the year. And never been under 55 for the 10 year prior to that. When we started, we just kept hammering the jingle. Fence the pool, shut the gate. Teach your kids to swim, it's great. Supervise, watch your mate, and learn how to resuscitate. We hammered it. We hammered the jingle all around Australia. Last year, 18 children under the age of 5 drowned. We started at 63, it's down to 18. But that's a busload of kids. A busload of kids. Our goal is 0 preschool drowning. It will be better than putting a man on the moon. I'm giving you the tip now. And you Yanks, let me tell you now, are bloody stupid. Because you drown more kids under the age of 5 in your country than anywhere. Just go and look at the stats. You need to get together, get a program and push it and save lives. I'm going to just recite to finish my Kids Alive poem, and then I'm going to play the jingle, and I want everyone to get up and do the actions. Fence the pool, shut the gate, teach your kids to swim, it's great. Supervise, watch your mate, and learn how to resuscitate. Okay? One poem, then the song, then it's all over Red Rover. And you, people who've watched this today, I hope you've enjoyed it. Get back into your swim skills and take them to another level. island nations circled by great oceans pounding free. Our abiding love of nation is as natural as the sea. We live by lakes and rivers, by billabong and stream. Why blue's the swag for the mighty rag of our great Australian dream. We swim for form and fitness. We swim for relaxation, for therapeutic purposes, for sport, for love of nation. We swim for tone and texture, to keep old man time on hold. But when rings and flames call forth our names, it's then we swim for gold. We pipe our precious water to keep it by our side, but in its bland and grand impoundments, young Aussie kids have died. They sparkle round our country like bright-eyed emerald jewels, but tiny crosses track the losses by the lanes of backyard pools. Keep kids alive, do the 5. Fence the pool, shut the gate. I'll teach your kids to swim, it's great. Supervise, watch your mate, and learn how to resuscitate. Every child is precious, so one death each week used to be in Australia, no more. One death each week. How many in America? Check it out. One death each week is one too many. In that 7 days, a further 6 are maimed for life, brain damage. Anybody listening? Hear this mantra. Summer's running. Keep kids alive, do the 5. This anthem should be drumming. Come with me. Fence the pool, learn it, because you've got to sing it. Shut the gate. Teach your kids to swim. It's great. Supervise, watch your mate, and learn how to resuscitate. Kids alive, do the 5. One last thing. Stuff the silver. We're going for gold. You can buy your book on Amazon.